Sort of the big things in TD's history to me, one was when we became employee-owned. Of course, that's 52, long before I got there or started employee ownership. Next was servant leadership. What Dad decided to do was to have a series of meetings at his and Mother's home with groups of 15 or so people at a time. You wouldn't be there with your immediate supervisors, people from all around the company every time. He had come across his pamphlet, The Servant as Leader, somewhere, and was buying them. And when you got your invitation to come, it was in there. So this is one of the things we'll talk about. And they probably talked about it an hour or two out of a 6 or 8 hour session. So it wasn't the only thing at all. And Dad did not say, we're going to do this. He said, let's talk about this. What do you think? Well, at the end of that process of a year and a half, 2 big things came out of it. One is we discovered that we liked this idea of servant leadership. We discovered that we were doing lots of technical training on plumbing or accounting or engineering or whatever it was, and no training on leadership. And as complicated as plumbing and accounting are, they're not near as complicated as people. So we started leadership development built around servant leadership in the early 70s. Next big deal, I think, was the crisis of the late 80s, when we came very close to losing the business. Our business went in half between 88 and 89. All the banks in Texas were local banks. 9 out of the 10 largest banks in Texas failed. All the real estate guys failed, but the banks bailed them out because they couldn't afford to let them fail. All the savings and loans failed. Of the 10 largest mechanical contractors in the country, 6 of them were headquartered in Texas. We're the only one that survived intact. All the rest failed. Our bank failed. Our bank failed. So instead of owing our bank, our friends at Mercantile Bank, $15 million, we owed the federal government $15 million. And they were not a bank, they were a collection agency. So we had a meeting at the office one night, and probably a couple hundred people showed up. I think it was after dinner. I laid it out where we were. Everybody knew it was the problem, but most people didn't realize how really maybe we're not going to be here pretty soon. If the company went broke, that paycheck's in jeopardy. So part of it was just, what are my options here? But I think a big part of it was we loved each other and we wanted to help each other. We were in this thing together.